Good morning everyone, I'm Chris and welcome back to 2RM Motorsport. So here we are then at Silverstone, back on the international circuit as we were last October. It's the season opener for Clubsport Trophy, first race of the year, really looking forward to it. We've just had a very, very wet qualifying session. I qualified 7th in class, which normally I'd be quite disappointed with because I usually stick it on pole, but as it's so wet and it was so awful, I'm just happy that I've qualified for the race and I'm not last, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, really looking forward to today. It's going to be a busy one. Races this afternoon. It stopped raining, it is brightening up, and apparently the sun is going to come out, so we've now put a damp setup on the car, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we'll keep going, see what's what. The yellow BMW is here, the white Almera is here, and there's some other cars that we've raced against before. So it's quite a busy class. I do like Clubsport Trophy. New for this year is they've finally gone to rolling starts, which is something I've been asking for a while because we've had a lot of first lap incidents in this series. So hopefully that'll sort everything out. But let's go have a look around the garage and see what we can find. Here's the Almera then. He's put it on pole, class pole. I mean, and it's such a beautifully prepared car. I mean, just look at it. So it was meant to be raced today by both Daniel and Stephen, the brothers. But Stephen's not very well, so Dan's going to do the whole race by himself. And he's gone and put it on pole, which was an absolutely incredible lap. I mean, I certainly couldn't touch him in the wet. But look how well prepped this car is. And you just don't see these Nissan Almera. I think it's got an SR20 under the bonnet. Shall we have a look? There it is. Absolute beast. So yeah, that's the yellow Peril, the Adcock BMW. Now, over the winter, the Cogswells did a full refresh on this car, went through it with a fine-tooth comb, fully prepared it, refreshed it, got it going. It looks incredible. They've done such a good job, and it appears to be much faster. And they've given it a polish as well. It looks actually shiny. So yeah, so that's us three doing what we all did Anglesey last year. There's a couple of other cars in class. I need to look at the timing sheets actually, but really looking forward to today's race. I'm going to try and do some onboard vlogging. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, Almera, BMW, and of course my car, which we've given a polish and a bit of a service, but nothing major. All seems to be running fine. We had it on the dyno on Friday. It's lost 1 or 2 horsepower, which might just be tolerances in the dyno, so we're not quite sure yet. But it seemed to go all right in qualifying. I just couldn't really get a lap time in, and with the faster cars around you, it's difficult. So, but you know, that's all the excuses I've got. Right, race coming up shortly. We might do a walk around the paddock, see what we can find.
Thank you, Richard. Well, my chances of racing in this Series in the future will depend largely on whether or not the car I may or may not be appearing in survives it, because these can be very, very busy races, these Club Sport races, but they are always hugely popular. We've got 45 cars on the grid, so we better start running through them now before the green flag lap begins. It will be a rolling start for the first time as well in Club Sport Trophy today. Jamie Hadley's VW Golf will start from pole ahead of James Alford in the Audi TT. Both of them running in Class A, as is Feroz Billamori in the Scirocco that starts third, and Andrew Dyer then the first of the Class B cars in one of the TT Cup Racing spec Audis, which will start on the inside or outside for a rolling start, I think, of row 2. Row 3 then, Chris Murphy.
Right then, welcome everybody. BRSCC Clubsport Trophy opening race. We're here back at Silverstone International. It was a very damp, wet qualifying, but now we're just lining up on the grid for a rolling start for the race. The circuit is dry, slightly damp offline, but the racing line is dry. So I'm starting towards the rear of the field, P7 out of 10 in class. So I've got a lot of work to do to get on the podium, but we're going to give it a go. I'm hunting down the yellow BMW and the white Almira as usual. A couple of the Hyundai Coupes are also in our class, which will be interesting to see what they're like. But let's get racing.
Rad's VW Golf GTI will have company from Will Gallagher on the next row, and then the BMW Z4 number 177 of Darren and Joseph Dukes will have the number 11 on Barry Cully, one of the original Seat Leon Cupra Cup cars. Then back end of the top 20, we've got Mike Parsons VW Golf and Stephen Oates in one of the BMW 1 Series Super Cup cars. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk about that a bit more when the race gets underway. Steve Wood and Jason Bruck are next in BMW and Renault Clio respectively, followed by, in 23rd position on the grid, Andrew Stevens Mini Cooper and Graham Price's Renault Megane. The 20 car is the Daniel and Steve Cogswell driven Nissan Almira GTI. Spoke to them during the lunch break. They've got the number 93 of Jonathan Hayes and Mark Bruce, the BMW Compact Ford Company. Then it will be Ben Walkinshaw's Scirocco R, and Christian White, former regular in the Toyota MR2 Championship. Then he moved into MX-5s, back in an MR2 Roadster for this particular race. 29th on the grid will be the number 91. That's Elliot and Richard Nobolivsky, BMW Z4, and then 94 will be alongside them, Jack Lynch and Cochrane. Then it's Paul Mercer and the Adcocks. Be careful, Phil and Matthew, that car needs to be in one piece for later this season. With Nick Dougal in the Mazda next in line. Then it's Damien O'Farrell ahead of the number 19 car, Cameron Bell and Graham Mailings, again former MX-5 racers, both of them. Adam Radford and Richard Bancroft are next, BMW ahead of Honda. Then it's Mark Jones in the Hyundai Coupe and Chris Fantana in his Mark 1 MX-5. Then a couple of Mazda 2s, not a car you see an awful lot of out on British racetracks. Number 134 is the first of them, that's the Shaw and Harvey example, followed by Colin Risbridger and Joe Jacobs Mazda. Then at the back of the grid, Stephen Watson's Renault Clio, Chris Stone's Honda Civic Type R, and Gary Hobbs in another of the Hyundai Coupes. So hopefully all 45 have made it out. I do suspect we're missing one or two after incidents or dramas in qualifying, but we are ready to go racing with Jamie Hadley and James Alford on the front row of the grid. Now Alford was out, I seem to recall, in the Supersport race yesterday, so he's had a nice little bit of practice. Lots of practice actually, a 2-hour race all by himself yesterday, and we'll start front row, ready to use that advantage, potential advantage anyway, certainly that extra experience to his advantage, if that made sense. Right then, let's move on swiftly to the start of the race, which is upon us, 2x2 through the final corner. 45 minutes on the clock, and it is go in the SW Motorsports Clubsport Trophy at Silverstone. As always, a magnificent sight they make as they fan out on the run into the first corner. Who is going to have the advantage? It will be the pole sitter Jamie Hadley. I think he'll hangs on with James Alford. Best to hang on to second place. No, they split the lead and they go 3 wide through farm for the first time, and Alford does have the advantage. Steaming up the inside again is Jamie Hadley trying to get that place back. A very lively run then through the first couple of corners, and still actually on the wiser as to who's got the lead. We'll find out down the Hanger Straight. That unfortunately is one of the McGanns. That was 384, I think, maybe 388, thank you. That was Graham Price with a rotation at Abbey Court, but he looks to be getting going again as the rest of the pack heads down the Hanger Straight for the first time. And who has the lead? It is Alford. So Alford's got the lead. Hadley second place. Then Mr. Rocco and Rosebud Warrior in third. Fourth place is Andrew Dyer. And then the BMW position up on Matty Taylor. He's had a good start in his BMW compact. We'll check that at the end of the opening lap. There goes the Adcock car, as always. Distinctive livery on the yellow and green Beamer. Chicane, LR2 versus Z4 versus MX5. This is the Clubsport Trophy. A great variety of car. You often see cars that race within things like MX5s or Civic Cup, Ford Fiesta Championships, all eligible to come and race here in the Clubsport Trophy. Gives the drivers a bit of extra track time, particularly early in the season like this. An opportunity to get some race practice before your full-time championship begins later on in the year. That's why we've got some of the Audis, for example, out on track with us this weekend. BMW then sliding around the outside and gaining a place. That's the number 82 car. Ranks on this Ferrari, the Roundtech International racing car, a Civic Cup machine there, one of the area motorsport cars trying to make some progress as well. They succeeded making that move, well maybe not because they're way off the track, coming onto the back straight. Matt Massey, that is the Honda Civic Type R. Again, after a wet qualifying session earlier on today, it's a slightly mixed up, muddled up grid. And, there are a few more powerful cars, definitely. And Rosebud Warrior, I would put in, Ferrari, I would put into that category. They're further down than they normally would be, and he has tried to do something about that now. To challenge one of the VW Golfs, that's David Cox. This is the 13th place overall. David Cox fends him off. Again, you can see the different coloured numbers on the timing tower denoting different classes. The top three cars, the other yellow background numbers, they are Class A machines. Class B is the red numbers. White background to Class C cars. Further back the background on the number denotes Class E. So as the race goes on, particularly when we get into the pit stop window, that's a useful guide to see where the battles are for class position. If it's not for class position, you still see them racing pretty hard with each other as they are here out of Club Corner. 283 on the Civic on the inside line there. That's Chris Stone. The Civic. Attack and actually losing a position there. Stephen Harrison, Renault Clio slipping through. Selection place away from Matt Massey. Head of the field, all for 1.2 seconds on Jamie Hadley. The Warrior in third. Andrew Dyer fourth. Matty Taylor fifth. David May sixth. David May is another of those who I suspect probably struggled very powerful this Nissan 370Z in a wet qualifying session. Qualified only 11. He's up to sixth in the early stages. Jamie Hadley sets a new fastest lap on the race. That was 3/10 quicker than the race leader. So the gap back under a second now between the Audi and the VW. This little group as well, the 777 car with a grandstand view of what's going on ahead of it. That's Roman Andrade. He's got Stuart Kilroy's Peugeot making a nice little move there on one of the Z4s. That's Steve Woods the BMW, which finds itself sandwiched almost in the middle, heading through Club Corner. Cars, of course, generate their lap times differently. Some of them are more powerful, some of them are a bit lighter, some better on the brakes, some better under acceleration. And Silverstone International circuit, whilst it has a very high average speed, it does have a few of these tight technical sections at the beginning and the end of the lap. So it does sort of balance out actually over the lap between cars with lots of power and cars with really good handling. You see it's like a trophy gets some brilliant racing around most of the tracks actually in the UK, particularly a circuit like this. Oh, exit stage right, one of the MR2s. Who was that? Coming back on the road eventually, but they were almost doing a reverse lap around the Grand Prix circuit then. So wide did they go towards the Baggett's and Beckett's complex. Down towards it. Trying to pick up. Is that? No, it's 5. Out in a second anyway. Stone Corner. This big group of cars. Still, Kilroy out the front. We've got a new player now, the 501 car. Ben Walkinshaw trying to join in his Scirocco. His way in the curve on the inside of the Club chicane. Accelerating back down past the pits. Peugeot desperately trying to keep this baying pack behind. And I don't know if they'll be able to do that. The BMW looking but the inside line will finally slip through. So Wood moves up to 15th position. So, by the way, was Christian White, who was a front runner, as I said, in the ML2 Championship a couple of years ago. Tied his hand at MX5s for a few seasons in the Super Championship about 4 or 5 years ago. So, back in ML2 in Clubsport Trophy for this weekend. Now, back at the front of the field, James Orford is not escaping. Jamie Hadley, as I said, has just been eating into that advantage slightly over the last few laps. The gap was 8 tenths, is now under half a second though. And look, they've already caught the back of the pack, so traffic on the horizon. That is Chris Stones on the Civic, but he's going to come to Blackpool first. So with ease, that was the last lap in clean air that James Orford is going to have all race, I suspect. There's going to be a constant stream of back markers now. He's the final third, by the way, first to Memoria versus Andrew Dyer. So Andrew Dyer in a full TT Cup racing spec Audi. Slightly different class to the other TT, Class B for him, but down towards them. I think that is a TT Cup car though, perhaps some maybe different tyres or something, I'm not sure, but it's running in a different class to the other Audi. Right now, not worried about fighting with other Audi TTs, instead trying to hold on to the overall race lead and ducking and diving through the traffic as they do so. In fact, the next car they're going to put a lap down is the BMW 1 Series. It is there, I promise. It's behind the timing tap on the left-hand side of the shot. Fledgling series that the BRSCC have been working hard on over the last year or two. Interest building definitely. That the BMW champion ready after the BMW Compact Cup. Is an exciting prospect, definitely. Cars out there, perhaps in the like Trophy, before they commit to running a full championship for them. Apparently, then dropping back in the traffic that time, 1 seconds between the top two now. The track quite as much even as Hadley, though. We get back now to Memoria and Dyer. There, meanwhile, briefly was the Adcom BMW losing out to Nissan. I'm pretty sure they were the two families that we chatted to in the pit lane before with Richard, and they found each other on track in the early stages. So, it was a story that teamed up quite well, wasn't it, before the race even started. So that's the Audi through the club. I think this time around the gap has come back down again. Jamie Hadley looking a bit closer. I think when he's left to his own devices, Hadley is a bit quicker than Orford, but just the traffic on the way on the previous lap. That's the line. Oh, actually, no, gap goes out 1.4 seconds. Quite a bit slower that time as Jamie Hadley. So, the next few laps before we get into the pit window, this is going to continue to chop and change a little bit. Pit window, by the way, open from 15 minutes into the race until 30 minutes in. So it's a 15-minute pit window. It's the middle 15 of the 45 minutes essentially, which the lane's open and cars can come in and make a pit stop. 3 of the sectors here running in close quarters, 40 at the front of the group. Adam Bradford just managed to dispatch Jason Ruff's Cedar Motorsport car into the gravel. 151, David Cox, that's down at the club chicane. Now he might be able to get out of there if he's got a really gentle right foot. I think he's going to be okay. Gravel being wet is going to pack.
Oh, I'm so slow! Repeat that, mate.
Actually gave it a bootful, he might get out, but as for the time being, pulls out the double-wave yellows down into the club chicane. Problematic not only if you're fighting for position, but also if you're coming up against back markers. You're not allowed to overtake anybody in a yellow flag zone, regardless of whether it's in position or not. So that could have an impact on the lead back. Obviously, right again, very out of Chapel. Ahead of him.
My car is really slow.
Sure, he's actually already on this lap, found way past the number 63 of Steve Wood. That's the lime green BMW in behind. The yellow flag, you can see this is the problem. Cars on different lanes having to follow each other line astern through the yellow flag zone. car. So Ferrari going through there in the Brown Tech BMW. Here are the leaders though, and they're absolutely nose to tail heading into that yellow flag zone though. So you can see Alford there having to hit the brakes because he's not allowed to overtake that back mark. Carlo is out of the way. I think.
What is Comp's last lap time? What lap time is the Almira doing? Last time round was a 24, but it has been doing... Repeat! What time are they doing? The last time round was a 24, and he has done a 23. Come on!
Corner, he is close to being able to achieve that. To the brakes at Village. Moving around an awful lot there as they came through that really quick left-hander. It's a bit of a nothing corner when you look at it on a map, but actually it's just flat out in most cars. It's quite sharp, it's very quick. It's got a crest in the middle of it as well. Car goes a bit light, all the steers out wide. We've seen plenty of people do already actually this weekend to steer straight onto the grass, and that can create a very, very hard-stopping moment. Hadley seemingly quite evenly matched then. Hadley, I think, is the quicker of the two. He's not got a massive advantage, and that's going to make overtaking Hadley pretty tricky. So he tries to use maybe pit strategy to his advantage. In early that car ahead of him, maybe able to get a bit of an undercut. Traffic again, not really helping the race leader here. Off the track in front of him will be a distraction, but then as they get back on the road in front of James, they start to really delay him. Through the first couple of corners again, we're 2 minutes away from the pit window opening. Said maybe that's something that Hadley tries to gain that lead. If you hit a lap or two earlier or a lap or two later, but laps in clean air. No, would be this is back in the third, by the way. There's Bill Moria and Andrew Dyer. Dyer's been stuck behind Bill Moria for a while, not able to find a way through, basically since the start of the race, and they're still nose to tail. Clips there as well of David May in the 5th place Nissan. That's got no livery on it at the moment. Like livery? Red, white, blue, I think, actually. David May's usual livery. But anyway, it's all sort of just plain black at the moment, so they're going to get that car stickered next round. Find the 3rd place though that I mentioned, Villamoria and Andrew Dyer. Very evenly matched cars, both front-wheel drive. German as well, of course, BMW versus Audi, and exactly the same story at the front of the field, except here the Audi has the edge, and the BMW is the one doing the chasing. A very robust pass made there by Jamie Hadley against the...
Now with the pit window open. Yeah, 30 seconds it'll be open, I'll let you know.
It's the second time I think the leaders have lapped this particular group of cars, but that group are now lapping other cars like the Coupes that are at the back of the field. David May is in the pit lane. Now I don't think the pit window is open. I was mentioning that car, but I didn't want to get this close a view of it at this point in the race. An issue for the car that had been running inside the top 5. Yeah, had notification that the pit window is open. It should be open now. We're 15 minutes into the race. Now here we go, right on cue. Timing screen says pit window open.
Yeah, pit window's now open. Pit's now open.
Window open once. Hold that out for about 5 minutes to make sure that everyone knows the pit window's open, because of course in the cars they have ship-to-shore radios like all in there.
The box is hot.
Yeah, but look at that move around the outside. Oh my word, that was Andrew Dyer, and that was...
This lap, yeah? Confirm. Yeah, I'm waiting for you.
What's that? Butcher back Marcus kept his right foot down and did not lift. And it almost worked, but not quite in the end. Walford there getting tangled up with a back marker. Ironically, one of the back marker VW Golf, so that might give Jamie Hadley the momentum that he needs down the back straight to challenge for the race lead here. No, not able to really get within striking range, or is he? Pulling almost alongside, but on the outside line. I think the camera angle a bit deceptive there as they came towards us. He wasn't quite alongside. I do think if I were Jamie Hadley, I'd be thinking of doing the opposite of whatever Alford does pit stop wise, which means staying out because Alford is in. So the race leader is in the pit lane, and sensibly Jamie Hadley has decided not to follow him. He needs a few laps in clean air, he says. Not that you get clean air in this series, but a few laps not boxed in behind the Audi to try and forge his own path and try and get the overland, I suppose now as you can call it. So, Alford in, speed limit is painfully slow after the pace that they've been carrying on track. That seems very slow. Perspective, isn't it? Going very quickly out on track, it will feel slow. That's particularly pedestrian. Anyway, Jamie Hadley inherits the race lead. Jason Brough is in as well, a few further back have pitted, but front runners. Only James Alford made his way down the pit lane for now. Interesting that he took the first opportunity to pit. Whoops, that was a slightly clumsy moment through Chapel Corner for one of the goals. But yeah, interesting that Alford came in for Hadley, having already got the track position. Fully understanding of why Alford would feel the need to come in first, but I'm sure he's got his reasons. There are a handful of cars out there, of course, that have two drivers, and they'll want to try and share that drive time as equally as possible, but going in alone, so sure thinking behind that was maybe if he wins the race or gets on the podium, we'll be able to ask him. John Deal will be able to ask him anyway in about 27 minutes time or so. So Hadley officially now inherits the race lead. This now becomes the battle for second place. Still, Feroz Villamoria is ahead of Andrew Dyer by a length or so, as it has been really since the start of the race. More traffic ahead though. Is this going to present the opportunity that Dyer's been waiting for? Seem to be seeing a lot of that Stuart Kilroy Peugeot 207, don't we? Which has been in the thick of some midfield battles. Just outside the top 20, that car runs the red 3 car. Alford back up the way. That's David May just in front out of the Nissan, so that's not a good sign. The last one we've seen on the 370Z, which has been troublesome over time, but it works, it's quick. The old mechanical issue with it has to be said. Great noises they make as they accelerate off Chapel Corner, but look at this battle for second place. Left-hand side of shot, the Scirocco versus the TT. The Scirocco's got the edge down the straight, but the TT with that front splitter, the rear wing, it generates a bit more downforce maybe. Not a lot, but a little bit more than the Scirocco. A slightly lower centre of gravity, and it is helping Andrew Dyer through corners. That is not helping to make an overtake because he's not really close enough into the braking zones to make the lunge against Feroz. Taylor, by the way, has just jumped into the pit lane, so has the number 93 car, John Hayes and Marcus Bruce, about to execute a driver change. Good run out of club corner there for Dyer. Can he get the inside line? No, he can't, because the Scirocco's better in the speed traps. Frustrating, so frustrating this for Andrew Dyer. Knows he's got the performance and probably is slightly quicker over a lap. The Scirocco is everywhere that he wants to be. Parts of the circuit where the Audi is stronger. Defensive line taken by Villamoria, wide line in by Andrew Dyer, gets the run on the exit, and that will give him the inside line. Will it down through the link road? No, Villamoria again gets over in front to cover. He knows as well, Feroz, that he can go defensive into the turns, even if it ruins his exit speed. He's going to have the horsepower advantage down the next straight. So that's the frustration here for Dyer, who remember runs in Class B, so a lower class than the car he's trying to overtake. Class B Sport Pro cars has got a power to weight ratio, so cars between 176 to 205 brake horsepower per ton. Class A, or elite class as they call it, which the Scirocco is in, 206 to 235 brake horsepower per ton. So it's a heavier car, the Scirocco, but it's got a lot more power, so power to weight ratio puts it in the higher class, and that is the problem that Dyer is having. Again, he almost had an overlap at one point down the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight. By the time they get to the most important bit of it, the end of it, he's not able to stay alongside. mistake out of Villamoria, or hope that Villamoria gets boxed in behind traffic, which he did there through Abbey Corner. But then he just got over to the inside line to cover into the braking zone of Village. So a bit like I was saying with Hadley and Orford, where they were battling for the race lead. I think this will come down to pit stop timing, really. And if I were Andrew Dyer, I'd be thinking about coming in now, get out of this bandit, clearly be quicker on his own, because then he'll really be able to use the handling capability of the Audi. He's definitely being held up through corners. We have that problem very late on the brakes. At the end of the hanger straight, but Rose positions the car nicely. Now is Villamoria going to pit this time? He's holding on to the right hand side of the road and stays out, as does Dyer. Of course, from a neutral perspective, I hope neither of them pit, because it's a great battle that they're having. From Dyer's perspective, I just don't see how he's going to find a way past the Scirocco unless Rose Villamoria makes a mistake. Microsoft Ferrari, by the way, you can see on the left hand side of the screen, he's in the pit lane on one of the Z4s. He's waiting for any of the front runners to make their way in. He's all from 21st and 2 laps down after his pit stop. Pit stop time. Dear to all of the cars out there, 2 minutes is the pit stop time. Cars are lapping Silverstone International Circuit in about 1 1/4 minutes. You lose a lap and nearly a second lap by making that pit stop. 2 minutes measured from pit entry line to pit exit line. So it's not stationary for 2 minutes, and that's what complicates the maths a little bit. You've got to calculate how long it takes the car to get from pit entry to the pit box, and then how long it takes to get from the pit box to pit exit. Then factor in how long you need to leave the car stationary. It's not difficult to see how people get that wrong. And then is the race leader, Jamie Hadley. Now his lap times, he's just come across the line with a 1:15.4. James Orford on his last lap did a 1:15.3. Now why is that significant? Well, they were nose to tail before Orford pitted. James is down in 18th place, but we know that eventually Hadley will pit and he'll come out somewhere around Orford, and whether he's ahead or behind the Audi will depend entirely on how his lap times are comparing to the erstwhile race leader. And at the moment they're pretty comparable, so there's a good chance they're going to be basically together again, all things being equal with the pit stop, of course, as they both stick to the 3 minutes and don't go above or beyond that. That should back out together on track, which these two are inseparable still. Dyer has been nibbling at the back of Rose Villamoria's Scirocco for quite some time. She just can't find a way past him. Stone corner, heads for pit lane. Right then, this is the key moment in the race, really. Jamie Hadley is in. It will be about 2 minutes before he should be exactly 2 minutes from that point there, as he hits the pit entry line until he exits the pit lane, and where he will be in relation to the number 5 Audi TT. That is the key. Can James Orford get back in front of the Golf? Will Hadley's later pit stop benefit him enough to move back into the lead? Not sure where James Orford is on track. Has he crossed the line or not? Try and pick him out if we can. Well, this is the pit stop. Oh, it is Villamoria as well, but not Dyer. So Andrew Dyer takes over the race lead. And again, much as we said with Hadley, by staying out there for a few laps, Andrew Dyer might be able to get the overcut. 20 minutes left in the race. The there is James Orford. Right, so he's just gone through to lap himself, essentially. And it will be at the end of this lap, I think, for the Audi that he will discover whether he's in the lead, the net lead of the race or not. So there is James Orford, his second pit stop race of the weekend, having done the entirety of the 2-hour Supersport race yesterday by himself. This time around, practically a sprint race, really, 45 minutes. Ready. Half an hour into this race, that's not 25 minutes into the race, but approaching the end of the next 4 minutes or so, and in comes Dyer. So that's interesting. Dyer choosing basically to go just 1 lap later than Villamoria. We'll let that one play out in a moment. Here though comes James Orford down into the Vale. Now where is the VW Golf going to be when it comes out of the pit lane? Will Jamie Hadley have stolen the lead away from James Alford? We're about to find out, I suspect. Then down across the line he comes, then breaks the timing beam, heads towards pit exit. And James Alford, was that the Golf coming into the pit exit there? This could be quite tight if that was the case. I think Alford might be in front though, you know. Is that the Golf about to appear behind? Yes, it was. So there we go. So that was a good pit stop cycle then for James Alford, who has gained definitely on the number 2 of Jamie Hadley, who then understeers straight off the road going through Village Corner. So Jamie Hadley will be a bit frustrated at that then, having gone there later, able to capitalise on the track position that he gained. He's not far behind though, but we saw how difficult he found it to pass the Audi of James Alford first part of the race. To suggest that's going to be any easier inside the 5 or 15 minutes, and he's got to catch the Audi first. He's done it once, so he should be able to do it again, but without that really. Now the next question is what's going on with third place, because we know that Rose Villamoria has pitted, so too now has Andrew Dyer. Which of those will out on top? Villamoria out of the pit lane now. Dyer will be out in about a lap's time, I think. Pit lane, the number 15 Audi out on track for the VW Scirocco. That will be for a position on the outright podium, but different classes. Dyer is a Class B car. Such an entertaining battle. We won't really care about that because we get the better of their opponent. Right, here goes Villamoria towards us, the Scirocco there, the green and white car. So up inside of a group of back markers. This is not ideal for Rose. He's been delayed by these slower cars on his outline, I think it is. This is that. That's not going to help his chances of keeping Andrew Dyer behind. So remember, it's the grey number 15 Audi we're watching for in the pit lane exit. Rose Villamoria will be hoping against hope that he doesn't see it pop out of the pit lane in front of him. Whoops, that's Swangasoni's Ferrari off and making his way through the water splash at Village. Get back on the road. Oh, now that's Dyer. That's Dyer, so he's out well in front of Rose Villamoria. And that is surprisingly far ahead, actually. Dare I say, suspiciously far ahead. Have to wait and see. As long as he was in the pit lane for 2 minutes, then that's fine. But it seems to be a lot further ahead than I would have anticipated him to be. I know Villamoria had some traffic. Could be that Feroz had a slow stop, of course. To say that everything went perfectly for him. But so far, Villamoria, I don't think he's even at the end of the hang straight yet. So bizarre turn of events there. But Dyer. Yeah, there is Villamoria. Such a big gap between the two of them. Best part of half a lap, really. So one of them either had a very quick stop or the other had a very slow stop. I'm not sure. But Andrew Dyer, I suspect it was the latter of those options actually, because Dyer is a similar distance back from Alford and Hadley than he was before the pit stop. Villamoria is the one that's dropped back, I think. So, and in fact, is he a full lap behind? I think he might be a lap back from where he should be. Whereas Villamoria, yeah, it was a 4-minute lap, so he spent about 3 minutes in the pit lane as opposed to 2. So that's what's happened there. So Feroz Villamoria's had a very slow start. He's actually got a lap and a bit over Andrew Dyer. Apologies for casting any suspicions on Andrew and suggesting he might have cheated the system there. It was just that Feroz had a very slow stop for some reason. Regs, all drivers do before their races. Like the 7 there, Rob Andrade being some encouragement for the pit wall. Race leader at the moment, by the way, is Christian White, because he hasn't stopped. And that is problematic because the pit window's just closed. He's not the only one. 63 in third place. Steve Woods BMW Z4. That hasn't visited the pit lane yet. And nor has number 388 Graham Price in the gap. So 3 cars yet to stop. Now, what do the regs say about that? So maybe you're allowed to pass the pit lane closed as is the case in some of the BRSCC championships, such as for example. Actually say anything about race. Oh, he's going round again. Okay, well now he is going to get in trouble then, I'm sure. Christian White is waving people through, hands out of the cockpit. What is going on? Down into Abbey. Is there a yellow flag at the end? Oh yes, there is. One of the Z4s is off and stuck in a gravel trap. Very inconsiderate of them to get stuck right where we can't see them. Let's see what car it is, not which number it is. Unfortunately, it could. I think it might be the 63. You know, I think that might be why Steve Wood hasn't pitted, because he's stuck in a gravel trap at Abbey, because he's just lost a place to Jamie Hadley. No, maybe not, because he came across the line for a second behind Hadley. Apparently, there is Hadley. It is. It's a different Z4. Price is in now in McGann. We're now just waiting for Christian White, really. Who I think has gone a lap too far here, but wait and see. Experienced MR2 driver slides off the track, puts the indicator on, dives for pits entry. No, he doesn't. Okay. Answers on a postcard, everyone. Unless he's found some exciting new strategy that no one else has thought of, or probably found a way to bribe the race director at the end of the race. I think he's going to get himself in some trouble for this. Christian White has not pitted according to the timing screen, and I'm tempted to believe that, because he's ahead of the likes of James Orford, for example. Orford, though, for what it's worth, he's been caught by Hadley, so they are nose to tail now, the Audi and the VW, and they're not far behind Christian White, so Christian's going to lose the lead anyway in the very near future. The question is, though, can Hadley find a way past Orford? Here they come, and it's situation normal, really. This is exactly what the first stint of the race looked like. The number 5 Audi narrowly ahead of the number 2 VW Golf, but as close as it could get, just was not able to make an overtake. Headlights ablaze now for Orford as well, as he tries to warn the incoming traffic of his presence.
Well, I'm out here on my own, doing the race, just circulating. I don't know where I am in class. If P4 in class, P3 is the MR2. It's 9-10 seconds ahead. What car is P2? P3? Who am I chasing? Toyota MR2.
Race, and unless there's been some sort of timing glitch, I'm pretty sure he's going to get himself a penalty at the end of the race, but the Toyota driver is quite happily continuing.
Am I catching them? Am I catching them? Yes. Yes, you are catching him for the second lap.
Have to go through the other flag zone, have to notably slow down. Overtake now, does just that against the 404, which is Bancroft driven on the Civic. Orford is about to catch and pass, I imagine, Christian White. So this is technically for the race lead. The Audi about to go past the MR2.
Clock have dropped 3 seconds off their pace before the pit stop. Okay.
Into officially first position. Hadley needs to try and go with him, really, and wasn't able to do it through Stoke Corner. Exit he does. And that time, Christian White sort of had an excuse for not pitting, because he had the Golf to his right-hand side. Look, if you miss the pit window by 5 minutes, Christian, you might as well just carry on, I suppose, and keep getting your moment in the spotlight. Round Club Corner they go. Orford got delayed there, again, ironically, by one of the VW Golfs, and then they head into the yellow flag zone, though, so there's nothing that Hadley can do. So frustrating this for Jamie Hadley. Right, failure to make a mandatory pit stop, say the regulations, will result in a 4-minute time penalty applied after the race, so that's the penalty we expect to see going away with Christian White. So do the maths. Pit stops are supposed to cost you 2 minutes, but failing to do one will cost you 4 minutes. Not really worth the risk, is it? Really any benefit to staying out any longer than you should. Whoops, a spinning MR2 right in front of the leaders, and that car thankfully has spun out of the way to the inside of the track and didn't catch a number on that Toyota. That's one less car for the leaders to have to negotiate. Here comes Hadley then, closing in if he can down the pit straight. Orford in the middle ground to try and cover. Defended well to this point though, Alford. Hadley growing in frustration and running out of time how to do anything about this. We've got 9 minutes to go and another knot of back markers in front of them. There is Christian White. Not even surprised at this point to see him stay out on track. I think he's forgotten all about the pit stop window.
Am I catching P3? Am I catching P3? Still catching him by a second of that. He's car number 19.
Pit stop, yellow flags now in at Abbey, so that's why they're able to overtake back markers at this point. Oh, and Alford got his nose chopped off there again by a Golf. It's all the Golfs, isn't it? They're ganging up against Alford. Every VW Golf when he comes to lap seems to get in his way, and there's almost...
Hold on, left. Just over 8. Repeat. 8 minutes.
Golf conspiracy going on out there. It just so happens there's lots of Golfs on the grid, so I suppose the probability is that a couple of them will end up getting in the way of the race leader every now and again. But at the moment it does seem that the Golfs are all in this together, aren't they? Hadley, with all of that though, still can't find a way past, so he's going to have to get inventive here, I think, over the final 7.5 minutes. Terrific race this at Clubsport Trophy. I've not really had much time to talk about the other classes, so I'll very quickly let you know who the class leaders are. Class A, of course, led by Alford. He and Hadley both winning in Class A, so this is a battle for overall and class victory. And Dyer leads in Class B, 4th overall. Class C, still led by Stuart Kilroy by just under 5 seconds now from the number 52 car of Rob Walker. He's an X5, he's only 3 seconds actually ahead of the third placed Class C car as well, that being the 241 machine of Matt Massey. Leaders navigate Barry Cully, who sort of gets in the way. Now that wasn't a Golf, but it was a Seat, and Seat of course is owned by VW, so I still think that Barry Cully might be in on this conspiracy to try and help Andrew Dyer, help James Orford get the race win. Class D is led by car 150, Andrew Stevens.
No, but that you might do it.
Cogswell. So the Cogswell versus Adcock rivalry is hitting fever pitch now because they are only 5 seconds apart, 25th and 26th overall. And on the previous lap, the Adcocks were fractionally slower actually, so the Cogswells lights this time around. Right, Christian White has pitted for all the good that will do him, with 6.25 minutes to go, but he's in. I imagine he'll probably be stopped at the officials pit entry. He has been sent down to his garage, I think, just behind the gantry there. So he's in the pits. He's finally serving his mandatory pit stop. It's about 10 minutes too late, unfortunately. It does mean the running order now will be the genuine running order on the timing tower. This remains the battle for the race lead, as it has been all race long, really. James Alford with the track position advantage, Jamie Hadley unable to get past him. And how crucial were those opening exchanges then? Because remember, it was Hadley who had the pole position. Alford was slower than him in qualifying, Italy in the wet, by 5.5 tenths. But Alford was able to get through on the first lap, and from there on, he has been able to defend this lead masterfully, using his car's advantages, playing them against the weaknesses perhaps of the Golf. Had he not been able to get past Hadley at the start, it would have been a very different story. It's a 5-minute race, relatively long race, but still important to get your elbows out at the start, gain track position where you can. Okay, there goes the BMW 1 Series Supercup car. Most members still Andrew Dyer, Matty Taylor, Rover Warrior stuck down in 5th position, Christian White back out of the pit lane now. I think that was a 2-minute pit stop, was it? Seems like it's never long. We'll get a time on that in a moment. One is through. Slow rocket there is the down the back straight. And in the background, for Rosemary Warrior and Christian White together. No, White has lost the lap, so that is, I think, a fair pit stop. It's the 501 car that's going slowly. And Walkingshaw. Scirocco are laid bound, I fear. So here's, oh, and that's a big lose going through Abbey. That's the the MR2 I saw sideways before, stops just before it goes back onto the road. A huge moment for William Gallagher. He's the one who had the spin here at Chapel a few laps ago. He's had an even bigger moment now through Farm. And thank goodness that car stopped before it went into the middle of the road, because that could have been a very nasty accident. We've seen a few drivers do that, haven't we, through Farm? Just understeer out onto the grass, and from there you've got no grip at all. Hitting the brakes doesn't even really help the situation. Scary moment there for the MR2 driver. Through to the Hanger Straight. Gap back under a second now. It didn't go above a second. Up there from Jamie Hadley, 10.5 quicker than James Alford. There is Kilroy, by the way. Kilroy still leading in Class C in the red Peugeot. 3. As far as class battle is concerned, Class A that is particularly close. It is that Class E gap is going out again between Coxwell and Adcock. So, about the fight for the overall victory on that sky looks very good, doesn't it? Towards the national end of the circuit. That's heading away from us, not towards us. Quite a low right track, so it looks dry anyway. Saying it's actually still quite wet out there. You can see it's a bit damp off the line down here in Stowe, but a largely dry racetrack. So this end of the circuit continues to beat down on Stuart Kilroy, the Class C leader. He's actually having a strangely quiet final portion of the race here, isn't he? Because he was really busy in the first part of the race, and was in every battle, it seemed, to give himself a nice empty bit of racetrack, which more can be said for James Alford or Jamie Hadley, because they've both got themselves back together again now. We're into the final couple of minutes of racing, and it's back under 4/10 of a second between the top two. There is the Nissan, by the way, that leads in Class E, with the only acceptable livery really on a Nissan if you're going to take it on the racetrack, the replica of the X-Works Nissan British Touring Car Team livery. A slow mini there, I think, potentially getting out of the way of the leading two. Arrive at Stowe Corner, nose to tail once again. Right hander then, so Hadley 2 or 3 times now in this race has called James Alford. He is clearly faster, but can't find a way by. It's not even like Alford is over defending or weaving around or blocking. He's just driving his own line, minding his own business. That car is quick in certain areas of the circuit, the Golf is quicker in others, but right now the advantage continues to lie with the Audi. Well, beginning what will be the final lap of the race, there is some traffic ahead that they're going to catch on the final tour around the 1.8 mile Silverstone International circuit. Is the traffic going to be the deciding factor, and if it is, who will it favour? So far, Alford, I would argue, has had a harder time in the traffic, but has always been able to position his car in a way in which Hadley couldn't take advantage of that. He just needs to do the same now for another half a lap, and victory overall. And within Class 1, here's Alford, understeers way wide, almost onto the grass, coming onto the Hanger Straight, but just stays on the black stuff. Now as they head towards Stowe Corner, he'll be starting to write that winner's speech now, I think, won't he? I think he knows he's weathered the worst of the storm. Onto the brakes on the inside of one of the BMW Compact, the number 93 car, which again does not jump out of the way of Jamie Hadley. I think Jamie needs to make sure he gets the first round in at the bar in the next round, because he's not had many friends on track today, whereas James Alford's had a pretty easy time of it through the traffic, at least in the latter part of the race, although he overshoots Club slightly. He gathers it all together, and he is going to come out of Club Corner to claim the race victory then in the opening round of the SW Motorsport Clubsport Trophy. James Alford victorious in the Audi. Second place goes to Jamie Hadley, and a 1.4 second winning margin doesn't do that race justice. It's much tighter than that for 90% of the 45 minutes. Ultimately, Alford able to claim the race victory. And then the long wait begins for the Class B winner, an overall third place man to make his way towards us, that being Andrew Dyer in his Audi TT. Racing spec.
Checking the flags out, mate.
So a strong performance from the Cogswells, coming out on top in the end over the Adcocks, who We're showing us a lap further back. Quite a lot. Now, around 17 seconds back. I think they did drop back at the end there, but no major dramas, and they're back on the podium. Here comes Rose Pilamoria. Andrew Dyer, by the way, has crossed the line to claim the victory in Class B. That slow pit stop, really the only blot on his copybook in that race. Really, really strong performance. Apart from that, the Mini limps across the line. And it's dramas late in the day. Oops, close moments there. Moving across the line. So we had all of our class winners through now. Light of the Class C going away on first Jim Kilroy. Convincingly, only in the end about 2 seconds clear of the Matt Massey on the Civic. Class E, as I said, went to the Cogswells.
I guess that's P4 then, mate, yeah? Yes, that was P4. But, your pace at the end was the same as them at the front. They seem to drop pace. Yeah, I just had so much traffic, so many fucking idiots. You know, people going off everywhere, dive bombing you. It wasn't good. I'll wait for the YouTube.
What are you doing under there, Sol? Right, so let's see if I can get back far enough and show you. But if you look at the rear wheel toe in on that side and compare it to that side, you can tell this side is towed in. And it's the second race on the trot now where we've completely destroyed the outer edge of this tyre. Near side rear.
Is that moved?
No, that's on. What about the one at the front? No, that's there. That one's alright. Can you see the other one?
Yeah.
That one's alright. We need to take the wheel off, mate, and have a look. But I can't be just going through AO52s in one race like that. But is that why I'm 1.5 seconds off the pace from where I usually am? Look, just completely bold tyre on the outside edge. Right then, so uneventful race really. I had a reasonable start, got past some of the slower cars in class, got held up by my nemesis of slow drivers and very powerful cars, and by the time, well, I mean that happened for the whole race really. Didn't manage to get anywhere near the Almira or the BMW, so God, I look terrible, don't I? Yeah. So once after the pit stop, I was 12 seconds behind the third place MR2 Cameron Bell's car, and apparently I was catching them 2 seconds a lap towards the end, so I finished 4 seconds behind them, so maybe, who knows, but yeah, that's where we are. Not the opening race of the season I wanted, but it wasn't half as bad as it could have been, so yeah, there we are. So yeah, more work to do on the car, more things to think about. Congratulations to Dan Cogswell on a win. Apparently he had a massive ding-dong with the Adcock BMW for the first half of the race, which I can't wait to see. When it comes out, I'll put the links below to be able to see their races on YouTube. and we'll just see where we are. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Please give this a thumbs up, comments down below, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I shall catch you all at the next one.